competition. So I don't know, those of you that have heard the story, I'm sure you have. It's been running around on social media, but his name's David, and Sheldon's going to be interviewing this afternoon. So he came through the sniper school, and yeah, I mean, he literally taken $400 to what, 130,000 or something.
130,000, and he started when we started this competition. I mean, it's unreal. Yep. And he came here to meet the Banter team, and he bumped into Run in a shop buying socks or something. So, and then we spent some time with him last night and got to know him.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot that's going to come out of it, because it's really good to see, you know, basically summarizing the discussions I had with him. He was not doing well at all prior to doing sniper school. Kept losing. He runs his own business based out of Houston, a roofing business, and then somehow something all just started to click with him with the sniper school, and started off his $400 account, and he's sitting on $100,000 plus, and he's winning the trading competition right now. So he's in line for the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗧 if it comes. I think he's still got about 2 years.
Yeah, and interesting. I mean, interesting now. I mean, he's at such a point where, like, you almost want the guy to just stop trading, to hold his position, because he's done so well, and just watch how things play out. But he's got a system, and
he's 1,400% up. Hey, he's 14x up off of his. If you look at him on the trading competition, so yeah, really interesting. What were you going to say there, Jay?
So for the new people, the trading competition started when?
Maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
21st of April.
I think he actually did the school in March. I think he did cohort number 3. And he started there with 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗧𝗕𝗓. He built that up. So he's also got a great 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 account. In fact, most of his profits are lying in 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. And then Bybit is where he's doing the trading competition. But yeah, really, really interesting chatting to him. But one of the things I wanted to say, Dill, I'm not sure if you heard that part of the conversation yesterday, although we are going to interview him properly this afternoon, was exactly what we do in the morning. The first thing he does is he gets a directional bias on the market for the day. So like, what is Bitcoin doing? What is ETH doing? Where's our dominance? Where's the stock markets? And he gets a directional bias. And I think a lot of the people coming on the market are bored. Why do you always look at Bitcoin? Why are you always looking at ETH? You just want to pile into the trade. But unless you've got a directional bias for the day, you know, there are coins that of course bucket, that buck the trend. But he gets that directional bias. That's the first thing that he does. And then he looks at, he listens to the 12 o'clock sniper show. And Dylan, you'll be very happy to hear that he looks at the Discord a lot. He's picked up so many of the trades off of the Discord, which is all part of what Dylan updates. So yeah, I think it's, there's lessons to be learned from him, and that's why we're actually going to interview him, because he's the guy that has really done what we're wanting everybody to do. This is
that's a great story. He's taken so many nuggets from Sheldon that he's learned, and he's going to share more of that later. Sorry, Jay, I interrupted you.
So the 2 questions I got is that he's obviously been for the last 4 weeks. Did he tell you how many trades he's actually done over the last 4 weeks, and what sort of leverage he's used, if he hasn't used leverage?
His Bybit obviously is leverage, because it's a leverage competition. His main money that he's made is on 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. He's operating off of a 10x leverage. So he's not one of these guys that's shooting out with 50, 200, 50x, 20x or whatever. He's done really, really well on his position. So we are going to tap into that a lot more. I can't tell you how many trades he's taken, but I think he was in 2 trades last night. I told he was in 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 and Render, I think.
Yeah, he had Render and 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 that he picked up from Sheldon chatting. He's going to have to cover like how he's managed his stops and things like that. I think he let them breathe in certain areas. He had a plan, and he backed his levels, and he backed his plan. So it could be interesting to hear more about him from there as well.
And the other thing that he spoke about a fair bit was that how every trade for him has a purpose, which is kind of Sheldon's concept of having these different businesses and different accounts that do different things. And he had a purpose for every trade, and I think that's important. So he knows. He loved and in fact we haven't actually even spoken about it. I haven't even spoken to Sheldon about it. But when Sheldon had that discussion on the live one day about like almost having your army, and you got to. You've got your generals at the top, and then you've got your officers, and then it lands up with your soldiers that are out on the ground, and you've got to send them out to do a certain mission, and if they fail on that mission, well, they fail on that mission, and he was working this whole army sort of narrative.
Yeah, it resonated with him, and yeah, it actually had him gave him a light bulb moment, I think, and that's where things sort of changed for him.
Yeah, and you can see where there's a problem and he's got to go and concentrate on the content. Yeah, but the important point that I want to bring out now was how important it is to actually get that high level view, and get your directional bias on the market. And then he worked from there. So the rest of it, we'll wait for his interview. So I think that's probably a good place to start, Dill or Jay. I don't know who's set up for looking at Bitcoin, but looks like we're having a bit of a pullback at the moment. And remember, Bitcoin tends to always pull back over the Bitcoin conference. I don't think there are years gone by without it pulling back over this conference. Who's got a chart?
So Jay, you're going to take us through some BTC there.
Sure, guys, I haven't got a chart up here, but I can. Just give me a few minutes here.
Chris's chart is really good.
Phantom's dumping here.
Chris has got a good chart there on Bitcoin. And I wanted you to get those moving averages on as well, Chris.
All right.
Or whose chart is this?
That's mine.
Yep.
So this is the I'm going to 4 hour.
And maybe show that 200 weekly MA as well.
200 weekly MA is, let me load this up some for y'all. Well, let me take out the drawings.
So last week, you can see we actually came down and tagged the 200 weekly MA exactly dead onto the MA. The 200 weekly MA for Bitcoin is definitely kind of the must hold area. It's the most reliable moving average indicator for Bitcoin. Bounced off it perfectly, although it looked like we're actually going back down it now. But we've also got a convergence of other moving averages there. I don't know which ones you've got there, Chris. And always when you get a convergence of moving averages, it becomes a stronger level of support because you've got 3 moving averages coinciding there.
So the red one is the 50, the white one is the 21, and the yellow is the 200.
Okay. So a very strong level of support at that level for sure. If we break that, obviously, because that's a very strong level of support, obviously there'd be significantly more downside to go. That's for sure. I don't know how you're seeing it, though.
Yeah, big area that. We've also, at the moment, I see we're sitting on quite a big horizontal and the 382 fib. I think we're bouncing off there for BTC. Let's just take a closer look.
If you take it from the bottom there.
I pulled a fib from 10th of March to the highs, and right now we're sitting on that 382.
Okay, 382 also is a very important fib level for those that don't know, to signify continuation of the trend, So a lot is happening at this point here. So it's very important that you keep your eyes on this particular level because it's going to affect all your other trades in terms of what happens here. But it certainly looks like we're coming back to that 200 weekly MA.
And we got 4 days and 10 hours before our candle close. Whether it's going to close above or below.
Yeah. So right now, you've got to say that the market is not looking overly great. I know there'll be things that will break the trend, but from a Bitcoin perspective, not. I don't know where we are on ETH and then dominance.
Yeah. So the way I look at these things when we start getting these pullbacks now is I just start tying in BTC support areas with my support areas for alts, and no need to panic when you see some red candles. It's not suddenly automatically a sign to start exiting positions and things. It might be a sign to start opening new ones or adding to your current longs or whatever. So until we start losing key supports, we're just getting an up and down, and we got to play it that way. When we lose those key supports, that's when we start reassessing our positions.
Yeah. So what are you looking at here, Chris?
I went to the ETH chart for y'all. The 200 EMA is at 1697 for ETH.
Yep. So we never touched it last time. So Bitcoin did touch it. Ethereum didn't touch it, which obviously leads you to think there's a clear open gap for it to go there in this current trend. So important to watch. But that recent wick low obviously is another key level, and then obviously, it's got to hold on that 200 weekly. But saying that, say again.
200 weekly is down here at 1605. That was a daily chart I was on just now with the 17.
Well, I think the daily 200 is probably better for Ethereum, and the weekly is definitely the one to watch for Bitcoin. I think when it comes to all the alts, the 200 daily is an important line.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you want to show some of your
XE
charts there? Because I know you. Yeah, I know you set up a lot there. So
just on your point.
Yeah.
Sorry, just on your point on the 200-day as to why it's so critical, I want to show you guys this Axie Infinity chart, which explains it perfectly. Here, so I'm going to pull up the daily. So this blue line is that 200-day that Craig's talking about. And we use it, you know, for confluence on supports and resistance areas and things like that. But the way these gaming tokens started pumping, if I zoom in here, you'll see we had immediately had this rejection, a hard rejection of this 200-day. And this plays out through like so many alts. So if you find I would keep my 200-day MA open all the time, and you use that to gauge your areas.
Bill, can you just show for the people on the, how do you keep a 200-day open no matter what time frame you're looking at?
So yeah, so if you want to select the 200-day, you go indicators at the top. You can type in MA or moving average, you'll find it there. I use the standard moving average, not the exponential. So you click on that, then it's going to appear. It's going to appear in this box here on the side. You guys can see that. I'm just going to delete the one. So you can see I've got the 200-day here. I can go to settings, and under time frame, I just set it under daily. So you can have the time frame linked to the chart, or whatever time frame you like. I just leave it on daily for myself. So then I know immediately when I'm opening my charts, I know exactly where we are, where we're standing.
Yeah. So basically what it means is if you're on a 1 hour chart, 4 hour chart, whatever, you're still going to see the 200 daily on your chart at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. So now look, I've switched to 8 hours, still there. Yeah. So it's a great help.
For those who've limited indicator usage and trading view, sorry, I haven't seen that. Right, so that's the one thing. So 200 daily is definitely the moving average. I'm finding that is the most important on pretty much all of the altcoins at the moment. So look at where you are. Like, are you below the 200? Or are you above the 200? You know, if you're above it, expect it to come down and get it as support. If it's coming up towards it, look for it to reject at that level. Rand's obviously done a big show today on gaming tokens. So I think it's an important show to watch. I haven't watched it yet because he's just finished now. But there's a big drive due to what's happening with Apple introducing some VR headset or something, and they're expecting metaverse and gaming tokens to explode. So that's why we're seeing that. And that's Axie, Bill?
Yeah, this is Axie. They all kind of moved quite strongly together. I'm going to open Sand quickly, just as another example. Do you see they've all had a pump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason Axie had that significant pump was I read somewhere along the line that Apple are allowing that game to be loaded onto the App Store. So it's going to be the first sort of crypto type game that's actually available on Apple. So that's why we had a significant pump on Axie.
Yeah, and then I mean all the gaming seemed to follow a little bit there. You can see we had some green candles, but quite a nice rejection. Just out of interest, you know, if you're trading Sand. I've just pulled the trend here, and this yellow area is an area of interest to me, whether it's going to be a rejection or something, you know, but this is a big area I'm watching for Sand. The reason I like it is we've got some horizontal support here. We've got the 200-day moving down slowly, and we've got the trend support. So for me, I know there's going to be a reaction there. I might not short it or do whatever, but this is an area, a key area for me.
Okay. And then I think 𝗓𝗓 was something similar. Hey, we're approaching that 200.
So 𝗓𝗓, yeah. So Chris is going to show us a 𝗓𝗓 long. I'm just going to show you guys quickly on the daily time frame, you know, just a bigger picture as to, and this sort of ties into what we're talking about, the 200-day and resistance zone. Bigger picture on daily for 𝗓𝗓. If we get our next move up, which is going to tie in with Chris's trade, he's going to show you guys just now. I'm looking at a big resistance zone here. at about 36. And the reason I like it as a rejection area is we've got this horizontal support, we've got the 200-day MA, and I've got a fib here. You can see I've pulled this fib. So, you know, this is an area under watch for me as a potential short later, if we get this next push up.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful line there. I hope everyone on the call is getting the gist of how you use this moving average. And what you find is different phases of the market, different moving averages hold. Right now, it just appears to be that it's the 200 daily simple moving average, and that appears to be the one that's holding. Yeah,
and it's been like that since January.
Yeah,
it's been a good one for all of us.
Yeah, we've been talking about it non-stop. I don't know if you want to jump into Chris's chart or if you want to look at your
Can I just show you? I spoke yesterday around the CME gap. Can I just show you my chart quickly?
Yeah.
Thank you. So yesterday we went through the CME. We spoke around the relevance of the CME, and I said that last week, Monday, we had a CME gap further up at 29,110 to 29,690 that has not been closed. And this past Friday to Monday, we had another gap form between 26,505 on Friday and opening on Monday of 26,775. Now, this chart is delayed by 15 minutes. I haven't got a live version, but if we just quickly have a look at Bitcoin and see where it went down to, it came down to 26,543. And if we go to look at the CME, it has closed that gap at 26,543 down the bottom here. So that's it. That gap is now closed, which is important because his liquidity sitting here, and that is now being captured. And there's a good chance that we are going to possibly move up in the short term.
And it's also nice, Jay, the confluence.
Absolutely. And you obviously saw on the Bitcoin chart that we did come down to the 618. If we take a fib from the low on Friday at 25,834 and the high, I think the high was on Monday, we've come and tagged the 618 to the T. So good chance we could possibly go up. Plus, we got that support level that we spoke about yesterday of 26,600 is very strong. Well, it is a liquidity area, and it is being support previously in, where was this, March. So we've come and tagged that. So yeah, I would expect us to now possibly go up. We've had one leg up, 2 legs down, maybe the third leg we might even go up to 27,800. Let's see.
Yeah. But yeah, great area. Thanks, Jay. And that ties in with those fibs as well. So yeah, lots of reasons to hold this level.
Absolutely.
Cool. Chris, you're going to show us your 𝗪𝗓 chart?
Yeah, 1 second. All right, so let me, hold on. So I'm looking at, let's see, let's go to the 8 hour first. So if I look at 𝗪𝗓, right, I start seeing, what I'm seeing right now is there's a lot of volume starting to pick up with 𝗪𝗓 in this area, right? You zoom into the 4 hour, you see the volume right there as well. Then you go down to the 1 hour. Let's see, delete this. You see all this volume, right? So now I'll go to the 4 hour and I'm seeing that it got rejected. Dang. All right. You see it got rejected by the 200 EMA right here on the 4 hour. So what should happen is if it's turning bullish and if it wants to pick up steam to, continue the move that I see happening, then I'll delete the fib and I'll withdraw for everybody that don't understand what's going on. All right, so what I did was this wave right here, I took the fib from down here to up here to find out what my 618 was. All right, so I'm expecting a support bounce in this area right here, which is between 32.25 and 31.67, right? I want to be in this trade if it's going to do what I think it's going to do. I want to be in the middle of this support zone with my first entry at 31.95, right? And I want my stop a little bit below the 618, which is 31.54, as my first attempt to try to get into this trade. Because we shouldn't. This is a resistance area that we broke, right? So we shouldn't come back down into these areas right here. But if we do, this is the second entry that we can try, which is stop loss of 1.32. Now, when you first entering, I do what I try to do is I try to enter with lower leverage at first, because if I'm wrong, I don't want to have that much of my capital messed up because I had a wrong entry. So I'll start off with a 3 or 5x, which is what I'm doing with this trade right here. So I'm expecting, I'll put a ray right here because I know there's kind of noise on the chart. So 31.95 would be my first attempt at entry. Let's go to zoom out a little bit.
And Chris, your TP, is that going to be the high?
Yeah, the TP is going to be the high because that's what the EMA was. We got rejected off it already. So I would expect a wick up here. If it's going to hold, we could get back in, but you want to be out of the trade. You want to take your gains.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay, so we're nearly in your zone there.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I looked at the volume. I started seeing that the volume was picking up. Like we had the volume pick up over here in this area, and then we came back down, and then we continued up.
But so, just on this point here with the fib, Chris, it's quite interesting. I mean, we were watching BTC drop now onto the fib that Jason pointed out. It was also bouncing on that 382 fib and closing the gap, and all that was happening while 𝗛𝗚 was pulling back onto this specific fib. So it's almost like perfect the way they're tying into one another.
Yeah.
Quite an exciting when BTC moves to a level like that and you're also getting close. It's like, you might get a decent entry.
Yeah, 100%. And getting a great entry is always the best, Fatal. There's nothing like having a sweet entry.
No, it's the best.
And you could also tell that, like I'm using the 4 hour, right? But the 1 hour is a sub time frame of the 4 hour, because the 4 hour and the 1 hour is what you would trade if you were day trading. You look for your bias on the 4 hour, and then you go down to the 1 hour to try to see, how your bias is, how it's looking. Like we have all this area down here. You see this 50 moving average on a 1 hour. We kind of we didn't tap it, but I mean, we're not falling into this area. You get what I'm saying? Like we're not just free falling. Like it wants to keep going. And then we have all this volume supporting the move, which is why I'm even interested in trying to get into this long.
Look, there's no doubt there's a huge focus on gaming right now. Chris and everyone else that's listening to the call, obviously, again, because of the Apple news, and Rand's done a large portion of the show today dedicated to it. So I would certainly make a point of looking at it. But what happens is we have these narratives where money moves into different things. It was memes for a while, and maybe we get ourselves another bit of a gaming run. Go be where the money is. Watch where the money is, and that's where you go.
And Rand also likes to say, when the music's playing, you dance. So exactly. Here we are, watching these gaming tokens. So
go where the bees are going. Anyway, Dill, I know one that's bucking the trend completely is Litecoin. I know you hot on this one right now. How's your trade looking?
I'm currently long Litecoin. Let me show you guys.
Just another interesting point while you're getting that chart up there, Bill, that David said last night. He said one of the things that caught his attention, and that's I'm not blowing my own trumpet, was he said, when I constantly make that statement, if you don't take your profit, someone else will. And he said that message just resonated in his brain the whole time. If you don't take your profit, someone else will. So he's not scared to take his profit.
Yeah, 100%.
That's such a sweet chart. Wow.
So can you see? Yeah, you guys can see this. So originally, I wanted to grab an entry on Litecoin. I'm going to zoom in for you guys just so you can see how I try to build this trade. So this is a 4 hour. 4 hours generally the tightest I like to go to give me areas that I like to look for. Originally, I wanted to grab this Litecoin on a pullback on this area down here. Was this sort of, but it stopped a little bit high, so I didn't get my optimal entry. So I wanted to grab it sort of in this zone there. So that's where I wanted it. I didn't get the pullback, but then we saw on the daily it was breaking this trend. So, and it had reclaimed this 200-day MA. So I just jumped in. So I didn't get an optimal entry, but I got an entry about 84, give or take. And I've just let this thing run now. The major areas I'm watching for Litecoin is a level here, this sort of area there, so a little bit more. And then this major resistance zone here at just above 100. So these are my main areas. So Litecoin's not an entry now. It's not a short, it's not a long. You need to just let this thing play out. Well, it's not an entry for me right now. The entry was lowered out. So my next play is I want to see what happens at this zone here, 96. If we break the 96, I'm going to be 100% out here at this 102 zone. And then I'm going to let it play out. If it breaks up and gets support and wants to go again, then we get a new entry. Hopefully we'll get it on one of these sessions. And we can load it up for you guys. But yeah, my full TP on Litecoin is in this zone here.
Yeah, so the important point there, which is something for people on the call just to know, is the concept of round numbers. So when you've got a number like you saying 102, you've got to be so careful of big round numbers because everyone focuses on them just psychologically. So if you're aiming to TP, my advice is always you take it before the round number. So you clip it out before, at 99, 99, 50, somewhere, because at 100 is going to be psychological. Hey?
Yeah. You front run the levels, you front run the fibs. So if your fib's on exactly whatever the number is, just TP below it. Don't pick that exact fib as your exit. You got to front run everybody else. So rather give up 0.5%, but make sure you get
don't be that greedy, because remember, if you don't take your profit, someone else will, and other people will be taking the profit, and then you miss that, and then it pulls all the way back, and you're like, shit, I had such a beautiful TP, and I never took it.
And you can see here, this is a major area here, this 100 level. So just make sure you're out before the tops of these candles.
Yeah, 100%. I saw someone in the comment here was saying that we often wait for pullbacks that never come. That's from, I think it's Johnny. That's just life, Johnny. Rather than chase a trade, because you then get a sub, you just don't get an optimal entry. And then once you don't have a good entry, you spend your time stressing and stressing and stressing over a trade the whole time. If you can get a sweet entry, your stress levels drop immediately. And there's, as we always say, there's always another trade. That's don't worry.
There's so many tradable tokens. Yeah, I mean, you can see this chart. This one I've been running in the Discord for ages, but you can see I highlighted this area down here. This was like my prime perfect zone. I never got it. Yeah. So
once you take the next best, once you got confirmation, once you had your confirmation, you got to go.
Yeah, so I didn't get my prime entry. I didn't even get my second best entry. I took the break with the momentum. And there's news around Litecoin. There's a halving. I think Jay can explain it quite well. But, for me, over the next while, it seems like we're going to have some good movement on Litecoin. So that's also why I jumped in.
Yeah, I did spend a bit of time yesterday around Litecoin. And
oh, cool. Okay.
Let me just Yeah, I can just go over it very quickly again if you want me to.
No, I mean, as long as the
No, I
there's
just want to show. I just want to show.
explanation.
No, it'll take less than a minute. I just want to show you history here
Awesome.
quickly. And then we can just jump off.
Okay.
So what I did was I just marked out the previous halvings and I referred to the one in 2015 and the one in 2019. And sure, I have to go back to that other Bitfinex chart that goes back in history. And if we just have a look at 2015, the actual high was not on the date of the halving. The high was actually in the beginning of July. So the halving happened on the 24th of August and the actual high was on the 6th of July. And then if we go to the one in 2019, I'm just going to go back to my Binance chart here. The halving in 2019 was on the 5th of August and the high was on the 17th of June. So it was roughly
interesting, eh?
sort of 6 weeks before the actual halving we hit a high. So I did make mention that we should not wait for the actual halving to exit the position. I would recommend at least sort of 6 weeks to 4 weeks before the event to get out. I did also mention that the 102, as Dylan mentioned, is a very, very tough resistance area. And you can see it was actually a support in January last year, February last year. But we do break through the 102 and reclaim it as support. The next major resistance right up here at 140. And that's obviously a 40% move. So all eyes around this number of $100, because that if we break through there, I think 140 is achievable over the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. But so hopefully we'll get a good entry in this 102.
Yeah, look, there'll definitely be a reaction at 100 just because it's psychological. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they smash through and then you have to deal with it. But on the whole, you have to assume some sort of a pullback at around 100 and then possibly the entry. But yeah, I agree, Jay. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Litecoin, I mean, when did we last speak about Litecoin, Jay and Dylan? Like we just...
Well, I traded quite hard in 2020. That was the last time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the last time we traded. Now we're back on, you know? And that's what it is.
I mean, we thought Litecoin was going to 1,000.
1,000, that was cheaper. I thought it was going way higher than that. The days we're trading.
So guys, I just wanted to share a trade here.
Yes, I saw someone asking about AVAX. Oh, is that Carver? Okay, because someone asked about AVAX as well.
I just wanted to get this one out the way and just explain how I came about this trade. One of the viewers last week asked about Carver, so we had a brief look at it for him. And we identified some areas that were good. It's been bullish lately. I'm not sure fundamentally what's going on, but you know, for me, if Carver is going to remain bullish, it's going to bounce sort of around this 382. So I was looking for a bounce area. I found the 200-day again. I've got the 382 fib, and I've got this nice horizontal area here, which I quite like. So for me, it gives me a reaction area for Carver.
I like your stochastic as well, Adol. Your stochastic.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the 4 hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, this looks like, it looks like a reaction zone. So 1% to 2% risk on the stop loss. And I'm in Carver from this middle of the box here. So I just want to see what that number is. That's 904. So yeah, that's where I'm long now, and yeah, my exit.
That looks very
zoom
sweet
in for you guys.
There is
my exit is going to be under this 300-day.
There's one curveball with Carver is that they've had the event today.
Okay, important.
So it's important that we have I think a very tight stop loss there, just in case.
Yeah. So this is me. So you know, I grabbed it sort of middle of this box here. I'm going to exit under the 200-day and this candle if things go south on Carver. But, you know, if BTC holds here, we should get, you know, it should hold. It should turn up here. So, yeah, this is my Carver setup. Are we going to take a look at AVAX quickly?
Yeah, let's do that.
One of your favorites, Adol. They still you love your AVAX too.
Okay. So this is how I've been looking at AVAX, but this is a daily time frame, so I'm not zoomed in at all. Yeah, it's been actually quite disappointing. It's like near. It's been quite slow.
Yeah.
We lost this trend. This is now a major resistance area for me. I don't quite like where it's sitting now for AVAX. Like I mean, there's daily support here. So if you zoom in and you're looking for a 4-hour, 1-hour setup, you're probably going to find one here for AVAX. But for me on a daily, I want to see it move down here, 14.1. I think that would be a great entry. I'm not sure we're going to get that. And then on the bounce, you know, this is a resistance zone for me. Let's see where this 200 day is as well. Yeah, it's not ideal for me. And the 200 day isn't tying in exactly with the horizontal as well for like a rejection. But yeah, look, keeping an eye on this one. I'm not long or short here. Long, I'm interested just above 14 maybe. I don't know what you guys feel, but yeah.
Just looking at the comment there from JVR, I don't know how you say his name, and he's obviously zooming right into the 15-minute. And yeah, you'll always find trades on different time frames. Dylan really likes the higher time frames because of the accuracy and that you don't have to stress too much over your trades. So he'd rather sit and wait for that thing. But yeah, you're zooming into 15 minutes, you might find a break of trend and you might find a short-term trade. Just be aware of the overall bigger picture of what's going on.
And that's just my personal preference. You know, I mean, you trade 15-minute, 1 hour. It's just over the years, you know, I prefer for me just trading sort of higher time frames.
Okay, someone's writing there that there seems to be some news on token releases on AVAX. I'm not sure. Definitely something worth looking into. Token releases are always a nightmare for any token when you're not looking out for them. Jay, are you seeing anything else there, bud? What are you looking at trading?
No, I seem to like 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗧 where it is at the moment. We just need Bitcoin to start doing its thing.
I'll go.
No, I'm saying Bitcoin.
Yeah. Still, I really want you to one of them I want you to put on your radar for the rest of them is, you know me, is STX block stacks. I want us to have a look at this for the team. So
let's do it.
It's a personal gut feel coin for me, and for a number of reasons. And I'll explain that to you now. But I wanted to try and have a good look at the chart.
Okay. So we discussed this one. I think Sheldon even had this on his show about a week ago. We were looking for an area sort of down here, I think. That's where our initial sort of, I think it was up here. And we didn't think it would come down, but it's come into this box. It looks quite interesting now. I think we might get some more downside though. See if we can just sort of try and tie a couple of things in here.
Nice.
I like looking for wedges.
Yeah, especially falling wedges. Falling wedges got 68% chance of break to the upside. For those that don't know, these are all the basic chart patterns that you need to know. And what you're doing there, no, keep that line there. That was looking great. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it looked quite nice, didn't it?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get more touches. Look, I mean, and you know, guys, like all these trend lines and things, it can suit your bias on the day. I mean, if you're feeling bearish, you can find a trend line to give you a bearish setup. I mean, if you're feeling bullish, you know, we'll find it. So you just got to understand your personal bias when you're charting as well. You got to understand what you are actually looking for.
So, Doll, I wanted you to do a fib from the bigger picture fib, not that low there. Just go further, zoom out a bit further, and maybe just take it from that sort of low that you can see there.
This low,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay, you see, look at that.
That's what's caught my eye.
Yeah. So look, the 618 is very powerful. You know, for altcoins, they always respond to the 618. You know, if you get a 618 tying in with the horizontal and a 200-day MA, it's like a no-brainer to give it a go. Right now, I'm seeing just the 618, and I mean, we've got this daily support. Yeah. So like, it's not like my ideal situation, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, you know. If you want to be long stacks, there's enough daily candles here to say, look, we've got support.
And a nice tight stop loss.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously on daily, like, the stops get quite big because it's the daily candles. But, you know, you can exit under today's daily, yesterday's daily. There's actually good areas to look to exit based on your risk profile. But the first reaction point is going to be tied in with this horizontal here and this trend. You can just see it immediately. It's going to happen. So, you know, let's watch this area there. If you're not feeling stacks down here, see what it does at this trend. If we get the break, you know the rules, know what to do. You can look for something like that. So, yeah, if you're feeling stacks now, it's not the worst thing ever. If you're not sure, wait for this trend line to come into play and then make a call over there.
Yeah, I think keep it on and let's review it every now and again. As I said, it's
yeah, definitely. And look, it's the good area, and it ties in with what Craig's saying. You know, and Craig knows his stuff. If Craig starts talking about gut feel, you need to pay attention. Let's take a look.
I don't know if there's anything else.
Well, there's just something interesting that I've been watching, also on the dailies, guys. Rune. It used to be like 18 months ago, it was so tradable and so much fun. And it's really just running out of steam. But it's starting to look very appealing to me down here, just above 1. Yeah, so I'm going to long this thing hard if it ever gets down to 1. You can see it's lost this low already. So now it's telling me, you know, it's telling me it wants to come down. But I mean, we might see a bit of this, but I think we're going to get this 1 at some point. So, yeah, I'm going to be longing Rune if we get there. Something just to keep on a watch list. It's the same as Matic. There's a lot of FUD going on about Matic. And, you know, I never thought we'd see this 75 region again, but it looks like we're coming in.
That's crazy.
You know, so, yeah. So, you know, anything can happen. Yeah, we can all get excited and we can get a rejection again. But Matic, I'm going to long quite hard down here as well. 74, 75.
Did y'all look at Sand yet?
Yeah, we looked at it.
Sand, yeah, we did. Yeah, there it is there. Sitting on the 786, had a bounce. Yeah, looking for a reaction up here, this area there.
Look at it on the 1
but support. Nice. Let's have a look at this. Yeah. So you'll see like these chart patterns are all the same, like on 15 minutes and 4 hours and all those things. And you can do the same. You can practice the same things and look for reaction areas. This is nice. There's a 618 tying in with some old resistance here. So, yeah, if you want to trade Sand, yeah, look for something like that.
If you look at go back, there's another resistance. Go back a little bit more on your chart. That it broke right there. See that?
Yeah.
Right there. So that's part. Is that a 382 right there? Let me see.
Let's have a look. Yeah, so it's lost this 382 here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's lose the 382 on a. It's not good.
Yeah, and then look, your areas for bouncing 382, 618, and 786. They normally give you reactions, you know, and if you can tie them in with various other things and they line up with like stochastics looking good and things like that, then you know it's on.
Phil, I see Melissa Mayring, must be from South Africa, looking at OP. Can you have a look at that? And then Jay, I see someone on Phantom, and I know you've been looking at the Phantom chart.
Yeah, so OP is interesting. This is the daily again. We
tagged your box actually.
Yeah, we tagged this box just above, unfortunately, but it pulled in line with the 786 and the horizontal, so that's why I was interested in that area. We had this strong bounce. I'm just going to zoom in for you guys, and again, so obvious, bounced up here.
Look at that.
Pinged the 618, pinged the horizontal, pinged the 200-day. So if you were bearish on optimism, you would have waited for this opportunity in this zone, banged in the short, and look, there you go. You got your reaction.
Jay, Phantom. I don't think there's much more we're going to look at, hey?
I think Jackie had XRP for us. You wanted to take us through XRP if Jackie's on.
Yeah, we can definitely look at it.
Yeah.
Give us your Phantom now. I know you said it was dumping or something.
It did spark down, and so
looking good.
We got a descending resistance line that comes from the 18th of April, and we touched again on the 6th of May, and we actually broke out of here around the 14th of May, 15th of May, and unfortunately it's been dropping ever since, but we have come down now to an area at around about, what is that, 37.5. That seems to be quite strong support, and luckily we have so we sparked down. This is the 4 hour, we sparked down, and now the body of the candle is above the 37.5. So I'm looking at hopefully finding support in this area and then going up and testing the 40-50 area. That would be the
if you longed this position here, Jay, where would you stop? Would you stop under this candle if you longed Phantom, like right now?
So, yeah, I think I'm just looking at Bitcoin right now. It looks like Bitcoin has found support. So that is one tick in my box here. So would I go as far down as the bottom of that tick? And let us just take a ruler and just measure that. That is roughly, what is that? 1%. So that is quite deep already. I would maybe go half that, 37.25, yeah, maybe about 37.25. And the only reason I'm saying this is because Bitcoin seems to have found support and is going to move up again. So
yeah, I mean, this looks good.
Yeah.
It is hard from a stop loss level though, but on the other hand, but yeah, 1% is not too bad.
It is not too bad. Yeah. What would have been great is for us to get a deeper retrace down and retest this white line again.
Yeah, 100%. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these wicks often get retested. So, I mean, you can even see in your history here, if you look at these little wicks just to the left there. So we might still get another entry here, lower down. What do you think?
Absolutely. So as Chris alluded, I would, if you're going to take a leverage long here, I wouldn't start off on a 10x. I would start off on a 5x, and I would only put half my position in here. I would wait for a proper break of this resistance line that comes from earlier this morning, and I would enter the remainder once we break through there. You can see it's still actually a bit weak here. So yeah, we need to see a bit of strength.
After that, let's look at After that, let's look at Jackie's XRP. And then I think we're about done, AJ and Dor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we do lose this level on Phantom,
it's a hard trade that.
It is. I would expect us to come back down to that 36 level. Or even a possible test of this.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd be trading right now, unless you're looking at a shorter.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of volume in Bitcoin either, so so that's why that's why I'm looking at
give us your stuff, Brew.
Okay, give me a sec.
So what's the news on XRP? Because I've seen lots of stuff flying around that are coming to the end of the case. Something's going to happen. They're going to make an announcement. I mean, but we've been hearing this for years and years and years. So you never know when to actually believe it.
Right. Last I heard, they won a phase of their court case. I see that the guys on the Banter group, the management group, are actually speaking about it possibly in the next show as well. So it might be interesting for us to check that out. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep. Chart looks good.
So
straight away.
We're looking at XRP right now on the 1 hour time frame. We have a very strong trend line with about 5 touches on it right now. We've broken through the trend line. We've made a break past the last highs on the range that we were in, and we've come down to retest the trend. So right now we're currently at entry point for this trade. So I'm happy with an entry anywhere near this current place. We have dropped down to tap the trend line now while we were on the call, but as of now, I've entered this trade at this area in the box, which is about 44.28. So then, just zooming out a little bit, we've got a fib going down from the top of this last wave to the bottom, and the area that we're targeting is just above the 50%, given that we have good resistance levels at the 50, and we have some at the 60, but more around the 50. So anything around the 50% on this trade, that would be ideal. So then we're looking at a nice trade, a little bit more than a 3-to-1.
Yeah, I like it. The only part that's hard on this, I don't know what you think, Jill, is the stop loss is very difficult on this trade.
Yeah,
because even there, where you're targeting a stop loss, you could test exactly that level where you want to stop. So they're right, and that whole area is quite a the stop should ideally, if you went in leverage, should be well lower than that. But then your risk to reward is going to be below that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, Dor.
Yeah, look, it's
stop
losses are it's a tricky one, because you need to manage your leverage, you need to manage your risk, you need to manage how you feel. Like, are you happy staring at like negative 50% or something? Does that make you feel nice? Does it bother you? You gotta decide what works for you. Some guys hate looking at red, and they cut it immediately if they're not feeling wrong. But then occasionally you're going to get disappointed and this thing's going to bounce the minute you exit. So you need to develop a stop loss system that works for you and just be consistent with it, I think. And don't chop and change.
Consistency. I think that's key. Consistency.
Yeah. If you chop and change, you just find a system, stick to it, do 20 trades like that, see how it plays out for you.
Yeah,
definitely. If we do break down here, it will make the entry a bit sweeter, though, given that this is the 200-day
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So there's other areas to enter if we need to. Yeah. But I like this setup.
Right. Yeah. So these are the details. I'll probably drop this chart in the Discord for everyone.
Sure, Jackie.
Sweet.
Okay, guys. I think we basically done today. I think so. Hopefully you got some good ideas on the market and good setups there. I mean, just make notes of them. In the beginning, to really go through the video again, screenshot it, set your charts up the same, redraw. That's what I was doing in the very beginning. I used to spend hours and hours and hours redrawing other people's charts to see how did they get it, because that's the only way you actually figure it out, and then slowly you'll get into the groove.
And just one more thing, Craig, those charts are like a lot of the charts you see that I'm playing around with, they are sitting under Sheldon's charts in the Banter Discord. So 100%. Like copy them, fade them, at your own risk, but just learn from them. It's there, the information's there,
100%.
And try it on new tokens.
100%. And as Dylan's his handle, his Twitter name, the Lord of Entry, he's superb. And you really are, Dylan, one of the, as I said to you last night, one of the best charters I've seen. So well done, eh?
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, guys, have an amazing day.
Great, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Beaches of Miami, Dylan.
We're going there now, aren't we?
I think so. I hope so.
I will
Later,
be there
guys.
next year.
See you later, guys. Bye.
All right, everybody.
Cool. Thanks for joining, everyone.